Hi, Sunday 13th of March 22, and I'm on top of the hill that it gives its name to, Full on the Hill Grenache, which is our new single vineyard Grenache, which has been released from the 21 vintage. And given it's Sunday, a little bit of a sermon about Grenache and the state of play at the moment. So after a long period out of favour in Australia, Grenache is certainly flavour of the month at the moment. And after a long period of time where we were all complaining about Grenache only being 1% of plantings in Australia, we're finally hearing about lots of new plantings of Grenache going in, which is great news. But I've got one or two concerns, and many of them relate to the sort of the track record of the Australian industry for overbacking varieties to the point where we then end up in surplus. And one of the reasons I'm concerned is that if you look at the example of McLaren Vale, where a lot of the best Grenache is coming out of at the moment, there's really only 70 hectares of truly old vine. So all of the contemporary Grenaches that are rising to the fore at the moment are based around that incredible old vine fruit. And that old vine fruit is there for a good reason, because over a long period of time, a lot of lesser Grenache has been taken out during periods where there was no value to it, or during the vine pull schemes. So the resource that we've got at the moment is incredibly high quality. The danger is that when we go to plant lots more Grenache, it may well be heritage clones that have performed really well elsewhere, but as we know, past performance is not a guarantee of the future performance. So we don't know exactly whether it's going to be as good in the future. And unlike Chardonnay or Pinot Noir, there's very little information that's widely known about or shared in terms of the genetic makeup, a lot of the clones that are used in Australia. So I think it's really important, if Grenache is to remain at the top of the tree over the next 10, 20 or more years, that during this period of expansion of Grenache vineyards, that we're really careful about what vine material we use and where we plant it. And this is a good example, I think, of how we can do that intelligently. The vineyard that you can see behind me here, which is what Full on the Hill comes from, is planted to 3 different heritage clones. One's Barossa, one's Langhorne Creek, and one's McLaren Vale. And although we don't really know much about the actual clonal material, it is an interesting experiment in terms of how different clones actually react to the environment, and at least we can start monitoring them. But in future, I think there's going to need to be an awful lot more work. Taking examples from the home of Grenache or Garnacha in Aragon in Spain, where they're doing extensive research into all of the historic clones that they've got there. So it's brilliant that Grenache is doing fantastically well, and kudos to all of those guys that, along with Thistledown, have championed the variety, many of whom over a much longer period of time than we've done, who are now reaping the rewards, and long may it continue. But let's not follow what's been done in the past, where a period of relatively good fortune is followed by a much longer period of bad fortune due to the indiscriminate planting of a particular variety. So let's just put a little bit of thought into what happens next for Grenache in South Australia.